TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
Up and away. We're ready for episode 12. Yes.
12.
We've done a dozen of these things.
Oh my
but
God.
This is a very special Top Gun edition of the Vibecast, a podcast honoring the raucous, yet righteous history of the Philadelphia-based band Chico's Vibe. I'm your host, John Parkinson. I'm here, as always, with producer extraordinaire Matt Kelly. And Matt, we're deep into the summer of 2022, and the hit movie this summer is Top Gun Maverick. So our listeners are probably thinking, well, that's why it's a Top Gun special edition. But they don't even know the beginning of the story yet. Because they don't know yet, but we have a special in-studio guest.
Wow.
Who plays with Chico's Vibe frequently. And he's a well-known, respected, and admired musician in the Philadelphia music community and beyond, because he has quite the YouTube following, too, I think, right? That we're hoping to leverage for podcast listens. But in addition, not only that, but he is also an accomplished jet pilot.
Yes,
so bringing in
that
the Top Gun theme. Retired.
Yeah, Top Gun.
Well, there goes my.
And I haven't even seen that
official
movie yet.
jet pilot of Chico's Vibe,
taking us into the stratosphere.
That's right. But in addition to having a retired jet pilot with us, I think Jason will agree with this. We have with us also today some of the top guns of Philadelphia music. Yes. It's time to head into the podcast and take the highway to the danger zone, because these guys we have with us are the Maverick, the Iceman, and the Goose of Delco Music. Yes, Dennis Chiquino, John Gephardt, and Ed Mount of Chico's Vibe.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jason Long, who will introduce and talk more thoroughly with in a little bit. So, Jason, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Vibe.
It's good to be here.
Awesome.
So I thought I'd give our listeners the flight plan for today's episode.
Well, wait. I want to know who's Maverick, who's Goose,
that's for you guys,
and who's Iceman.
We should have our own names, though. Like, I want to be like Lazy Dude. Somebody else fly my plane.
No, your call would have to be, "Hey, Chico. Hey, Chico, you got a MiG on your 6.
Oh, my gosh.
Chico, better shoot him down. Out."
Chico, call the ball.
To get the MiG, he just yells at them, "Get away!"
The other plane pulls up next to you. Ultralight.
Oh, God. And the other guy, like in the other plane, how come Chico flies? How come the Chico does not fly with the ball, boy?
That's right.
Oh my goodness. So so our listeners know, our flight path for today, we'll get warmed up a little bit and welcome Jason. I thought we'd talk a little bit about planes and music and musicians. We'll start with that. We'll do kind of a music Q&A with Jason, and also a little bit of like a Jason Long, This Is Your Life kind of segment here.
Excellent.
And we may give Jason the opportunity to ask you guys questions.
I got a lot of them, too.
There we go.
And Matt can edit with the best of them, too. So then we'll do a true lightning round, not a thunder round, but a true lightning round. Because
I can't wait to hear that.
I'm going to let Matt do the
Is that why we're in these rubber suits?
We did no.
No, that's for another.
Is that why I'm wearing this? Oh, is that another job afterward? Oh, it's another gig me and Jason have after the show.
Love it, keep it, trash it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which the last time we did it was a lightning round. LIKITI.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's the most honest answer. The faster it's being flashed at you. I think your first
from the
gut
gut.
reaction.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I got 15, 16 songs that we can run
By
through.
then,
Right.
I'll be mostly through this flask here. So I don't know how lightning I'll be.
Oh,
Need me to participate.
Then, if we still haven't really hit the meat of the episode, we'll talk about this month's song from the set list, which is September. That was chosen by Matt Kelly last month. And if we have some time, maybe we'll do some planning.
But it's July right now.
Right,
It
but
is?
It's September, but it's July.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So in September we'll have to do.
So our
Do you like New
podcast-
York in
Eject.
June? So in the future, not in the past.
And if we have time, we'll talk about live planning about our live podcast episode. Our 1 year anniversary is coming up, which we
yeah.
got.
Oh, that's gonna be exciting.
Plan a little bit. I did
Oh,
invite.
boy.
I invited the Judge Timbers.
I invited Monica.
Excellent. Okay. Let's talk real quickly, just to stick with the Top Gun theme. And so I thought, we'll talk planes and music and musicians. And then right away I thought, wow,
I'm
it's not the best.
leaving on a job.
Oh,
Forget
boy.
it. I see you got me started.
Okay. Well, that was what I was going to start with first.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
songs about planes. So there are lots of songs about that reference flying. Most of those songs about flying don't talk about planes. The flying is something else. It's an analogy. But there are songs about planes. So I was going to ask you guys, like very quickly, what song do you know that you like that's about planes? And Dennis hit the first one.
Jet Airliner.
Yeah.
Two of them.
That's
so
a good
Dennis did "Leave It on a Jet Plane" and "Jet Airliner." That gets us through a few of them already. Jason, do you have a favorite
Closer.
song about flying?
Well, I like the Jimmy Van Heusen standard "Come Fly with Me." Jimmy Van Heusen was a pilot.
Oh,
And he supposedly was a pilot, and he named. Obviously, Jimmy Van Heusen wasn't his real name. He named himself after the shirts the pilots wore. And when I was flying, my
No
epaulet
kidding.
shirt said Van Heusen on the back. I thought it was named after the songwriter, but it turns out it was the other way around. Supposedly, that song is literally about flying. It's not
Yeah.
about drugs or anything. It probably should be about drugs.
no, it kind of makes sense because
But,
the destinations.
yeah.
that's cool to know. I always
Now I don't know how safe of
Throughout
a
the
pilot
Pulco
Jimmy
Bay.
Van Heusen was, but anyway, has Chico's Vibe ever done "Come Fly with Me"?
Once.
Yeah, we
Once.
did it once.
It's that intro that'll get you. That's a chromatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, quick. Somebody else.
I got up and away.
Yes, but that's a
Oh,
balloon.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's
I
a-
know,
But I
that's
love that song. I'm
flying.
Yeah.
a big Fifth Dimension.
Great
It's guilty
song.
pleasure. Marilyn McCoo. I've
Yes.
had a crush on since
Oh,
I was
Yeah.
8
she's
years old.
gorgeous. Yeah. I love that
still
song.
haven't-
I hate balloons though. It's, never get me up in one of those things.
So, Ed Mal, you have anything? You're
I'm trying to
about?
think. You took the one that I thought, a big go jet airliner.
Ah, okay.
Leaving
How
on a
about-
jet plane's so good.
I
Does
got another.
anything by Led Zeppelin work?
Yes. I have a
Zeppelin?
separate category of bands that are named after.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Let me just let me volunteer one for Ed. There was a Bob Walsh.
Joe Walsh.
Bob Welsh,
Welsh,
from
Fleetwood
Mac. He, went on one of his solo albums. He did a tune called "Ghost of Flight 401," which is another one of my favorite flying songs, and that's about the real life airline crash of Eastern Flight 401 in the early 70s, and supposedly they harvested the parts from that crash plane for other planes, and ghosts would start. The ghost of the pilots who died started showing up on other Eastern Airlines flights. Bob Welsh wrote a song about it. Blah, blah, blah. Books written.
That's
whatever.
good. That's not even on the list.
Yeah.
But we will talk about flights and crashing in a little bit.
So we just kind of
Okay.
made a hard left into the occult now.
Yes. Well, no. Yeah, that's true. A little bit.
Well, you know what? I got another one too. Since I got all these plane songs in my head. See if Gabby could get it. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 or
It's
more.
on my list.
The Bloody Red Baron.
How many
Throwing
yeah.
up the score.
Not
Snoopy
many.
versus the Red Baron.
Oh, my gosh.
Lord.
Those are all airplane songs?
Well, there's airplane songs and then there's flying. Honorable mention flying songs.
Wow.
But so, like songs
Well,
that
it's-
reference flying.
Fly
The
me
letter
Oh, give me a
Yo,
ticket
you're
for
right,
an airplane,
right.
right?
back in the USSR.
Ain't got
Oh,
time
yeah.
to take a fast train.
Yeah, 8 Miles High was
The
written
Creedence
inspired by flying.
Clearwater playing in a traveling band.
It could be honorable mention.
737 coming out of the
you
sky.
got
Yeah,
it.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Love that. Woo.
Yeah, good, Jason.
Daniel?
I think it's 737.
Oh yeah, Daniel's
Red
Living
tail lights.
Tonight on a plane. Right.
Yeah.
There's a Joni Mitchell song called Amelia, which none of our listeners will know, but it's a pretty good song.
I don't even know it.
Amelia.
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart, she's singing about.
Yes. Yeah.
Holy smokes, Joni.
And I don't know if Danger Zone counts as a flying song.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is the theme to the movie, pretty much.
Yeah. But I won't go into it. We have the honorable mention of the flying songs. I'll skip those because
I want to hear a
So
couple.
then I thought, okay, we're talking, music, planes, musicians. Jefferson Airplane popped into my mind. So I
Right.
thought, well,
Okay.
what bands are named after airplanes are flying?
Well, Zeppelin, like Gabby said,
Yeah.
Airplane.
It's not that many, at least I could think of, that are named after.
Yeah. Well, they were named after two types of flying instruments, the Jefferson Airplane, and then they evolved into the Jefferson Starship,
Yes.
which is in like Ed's department then.
Well, then you could say Starship Trooper.
That's a song by what? Yes?
Yes,
Ah.
Starship Trooper.
David Foster and Jay Graydon, all those guys, they formed a band called Airplay.
See this? I didn't
A
know
bunch
that.
of studio musicians formed it in the early '80s, but Airplay's more of a radio term.
Would you
I
count?
guess.
What is?
But they took a picture in front of a Fokker F-27 on the album cover with their early
There you
80s
go.
sunglasses.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's-
Speaking, I thought the Beastie Boys have their first album.
Oh,
has
the
plane crashing.
727 crashed into a wall. Oh yeah. Very disturbing
What,
when that album.
what does
came out.
Aerosmith mean? I didn't look that up. Does that have anything to do with the
I don't know.
people who work on planes? But there's U2.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Spotted
You
on
too.
a plane, and
Right.
You could count the B-52s.
Right.
How about the
B-52s.
Nazi band Das Hindenburg?
What?
What?
Gosh,
I don't listen
Is
to
this
lots
a
of
real
Nazi-
You
thing?
made
or-
that up.
He's
I think
only
I've already boycotted those guys.
Yeah.
the Flying Burrito Brothers. I don't know if they count.
Oh, man, I forgot about them,
That's the
John.
one that stole Jerry Seinfeld's jacket, right?
They-
Flying Burrito
I'm
Brothers.
not sure, but I'm going to go with that. All right, so a related topic. When you talk about planes, music, and musicians, unfortunately, one thing that came to mind for me is how many musicians died in plane crashes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The list is kind of long.
You start
Oh,
with the
boy.
American Pie.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'll
yes.
start
That's the
with
day the
that
music
one.
died. That's a care of a few.
Jim Croce.
Yeah.
Now I have to approach this from a pilot
Otis
standpoint.
Redding.
So there's
Well,
an
that's what I
extra.
wanted to ask you.
There's an extra level of frustration
When the ghosts
I
are
have.
flying the planes.
about someone like Jim Croce dying. And we try our best not the Monday morning quarterback, but since it was in the early 70s, there's no more Monday morning anymore,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
But Jim Croce, really, all that pilot needed to do, and I'll probably get crucified for saying this, but all he
I don't
needed
think
to
we have
do
a big pilot
was
listening.
a takeoff calculation problem off of a short grass field, and if he would have known how much runway he needed for that airplane, they would have made it. But he got in the plane, loaded Jim up and all this stuff, and didn't know how much runway he needed. Crashed at the end of the runway, killed everybody.
This is the
So Jim may have
this is
still
Jim
been
Croce?
with us.
Yeah.
Wow.
and we have with us the modern day Jim Croce. That'll be Ed Mount right there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But no, it's kind of
Bad,
disappointing
bad
how many.
Jim
Bad
Brown?
Leroy
Yeah.
Brown.
No, Leroy Brown.
Mhm.
Jim
Yeah.
Brown. What am I
Couple for
thinking?
me
Jim
are
Baker.
Otis Redding,
Otis
John-
Redding, yeah.
John
and,
Denver.
John Denver. Yeah, it was experimental.
Newt
Well,
Rock.
he shouldn't
Jim
have even
Croce
been
came from my
flying. He
Jim
lost
Croce
his-
came from my mother's
lost his
musical
medical.
library. We had my
Yeah.
mother's musical library, her albums, and then my dad's album.
What was your dad's?
They were all over the place because I think a lot of them came from his parents too.
The
Right
best
on
of
a-
South Philadelphia String
That's
Band.
right. Each year. What are you over? You're naming.
Newt Rockney. Oh, he wasn't
He wasn't
in
in-
Oh, wait, I mean,
Newt-
Notre,
If we want to go that way, Roy Halladay.
Notre
There you
Dame
go.
Victory
You know.
March.
Ricky Nelson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know he died
He
in the
did.
plane.
Well, you got Leonard Skinner, right?
Yeah.
You got
Three
yeah,
Leonard
yeah.
Skinner members.
And
Ronnie
was it
Van
Eric
Zant.
Clapton and not Eric Clapton, he didn't die.
He made
but,
it.
Jimmy Stevie Ray Vaughan didn't.
Stevie
he
Ray
die?
Vaughan died in a
Oh,
plane
Yes.
crash.
Yeah, it was a plane
Damn.
crash. Yeah.
Let's see who else.
See, you know,
Patsy
like,
Cline.
Patsy
It would have
Cline.
been
Really?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, you know, a lot of
Yeah,
artists
into the
have
side
to
of a
fly to get
mountain.
to their gigs. So this,
Yeah,
this is,
I mean that's why I was going to ask you why. I mean, well, Glenn Miller set the pace. He was the first. First one.
Really?
Yeah, his plane disappeared over the English Channel.
Oh gosh, I
didn't know that.
I
I forgot it. Yeah.
We could have immortalized ourselves if our plane had crashed coming home from the Bahamas.
we would have taken out too many innocents. That's the problem.
Was that the one I was sitting right next to you on the plane? And I
doing
got
a
a peek
podcast
inside
right
your
now
address
about
book
us.
on your phone.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We would have brought down, let's see, Lou Burke, Sue McClellan.
Oh
I, think
man.
I must have been the only one who had fun on that flight because I'm like, when you land, you will be greeted with a complimentary bag of rock salt. Enjoy yourself because it was like the dead of February.
Didn't we have to go to Miami for? We had to connect in Miami and clear customs. and
Fort
then we-
Lauderdale, I think.
Fort Lauderdale. Yeah.
That was our first.
Oh,
yeah.
that was the cruise. But
Oh,
then
that's
the,
right,
The
yeah.
breezes was
Yeah, I
I think Miami.
I don't know. I think the Bahamas flights were straight.
Nah,
Right down to Bahamas.
One of them
yeah,
was,
straight down there. But we had to clear customs. Oh, you know what?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. Aaliyah was another one
Aaliyah,
down
I have her
in
list,
the
I
in
forgot to
the
say.
Bahamas. Her
Yeah, she was an
that
R&B
pilot
singer.
just loaded his plane up out of CG, out of the center of gravity, and took off. The plane didn't want to fly.
Wait,
Killed
what
everybody.
that? Give me that one. What?
When he loaded the plane.
You have a certain
Oh.
threshold. You need
I
to load an
gotcha.
airplane a certain way so that the center of gravity is within a certain amount of inches from the
Yeah.
center of pressure on the wing. So you're getting some aerodynamics to
We have a real pilot here, folks. Jason Long.
That's why.
Yep.
This is the top.
Exactly.
No one
So-
wants to hear.
No, this is.
I was,
you know,
I was looking forward to my
should get a little more cheery.
September harmonic analysis.
How come-
We'll get there.
How come we never got Jason to fly us to the Bahamas?
I can't believe
You
we
couldn't
didn't-
afford me.
So let's.
You know, true story. Jason retired from being a pilot to sub in the John Hoey Orchestra. He always wanted to play at the
Wait, here's a
wanted
story
to play at
I
the
heard.
5 spot.
Here's a story I heard.
Oh, that's
Jason,
funny.
at a very young age, was the pilot of the Concorde that flew Phil Collins from London to Philadelphia
yeah.
for Live Aid. That's why they call
Oh,
him
God.
the Mozart of the Concorde.
I'm glad you said I didn't say the Concorde that got its engine shredded by the coming out of
Is that a
Paris.
true
Jesus.
story?
Yeah, you go to all
Yeah,
the
he was
fun
10
stuff.
years old when he did.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool. Live Aid when Phil Collins came
Yeah.
over here on the
precocious
at
flyer.
10 years old, which I was in '85. That was about the neatest thing I could possibly. I just
your world's
it was
coming
bigger
together.
than it was bigger than life.
So
for
let's
me.
Yeah.
let's talk Jason Long, your
Let's
guest
talk.
on the podcast. Jason Long and music. Let's talk about music. I mean, you and I talked about. You noticed that we ask our guests on the podcast. When did they start in music? What got them interested? What was the first instrument that they played? And you mentioned that it was all murky for you, and I got
Yeah.
I got the impression that you were conscripted into the music life.
No, it was yeah.
So-
it,
and
I
your
was,
your dad was a musician, right?
from my very earliest, I mean, I'm talking 2-3 years old. My earliest waking memory is of wires, guitar amps, mic stands, drum sets, because my dad's band at the time, and my dad didn't join a band until the year I was born. He didn't work as a musician before I was born. Right at the same month I was born, he joined a band, which was really weird.
He's like, I don't want to watch
And
this.
and
kid."
yeah, I guess he had to
I
find
gotta
something
get out
else
of the
to
house.
do. So
I hate to break it to you. You must have
he
been a
would
tough
bring
kid.
me in. He would bring me in my bassinet to rehearsals, and this I think his first band was called.
one and
Wait,
yeah.
that,
So I started smoking
He said
at 2
no.
months.
He said I would sleep the whole time.
that
smoking
is a
cigarettes at 2
total.
months.
That's a total
Drinking
visual.
beers by 4 months.
That's a visual. Jason and his bassinet going into.
They didn't worry about babies and hearing and stuff back then.
No.
It just
That should be on your next CD cover. You and the bassinet with like a band playing behind
and
you.
it was funny. Wasn't that it was in a neighborhood that wasn't that far from here. It was down in Chadds Ford at a condo development called Painter's Crossing, which
Oh,
is
yeah,
where
yeah,
my
that is.
Sure.
which is where my parents lived in 1974. They moved there. And then I was born January 75, right down at Riddle Hospital. My dad would bring me to gigs. And all throughout the
In the
late
bassinet?
70s. Yeah, but, I got older, and my dad's band, the late Entry at that point, which Paul Congdon was a member
Big
of.
Paul.
Big
And
balls.
they would
Makes every
rehearse
podcast.
every like Tuesday night in there. And they would not only have instrumental.
Every Tuesday night. What's that called?
A vertical.
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 Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
They would not only have instrumental rehearsals, they would have just harmony rehearsals. I remember just working on singing, really tight. And I would go down during their instrumental rehearsrsals. I would go
What
down.
is this thing you call rehearsals?
Yeah, I know.
That's you mean cocktail hour?
They were very dedicated people. I mean, anyone asked me to do a rehearsal, I either quote them a huge price for it, or I say, well, I'm not doing a rehearsal. Don't hire me if you don't want. But anyway, I would go down and I'd sleep. Back then, drummers in the late 70s, it was the sound where drummers would leave the front head of their bass drum open
Right.
and stick pillows in there.
Yeah, right.
And they don't do that anymore.
Don't
I guess
even
the
tell me.
technology's improved, but I would rest my head and take a nap during the rehearsal inside the drum
This
head.
explains so much.
And I started to lose my hearing then at a ripe young age.
Well,
Why does it sound muffled? Your kid's in the drum again. He's been there the whole first set.
That's my
Wait, so
earliest waking
What
memory.
instrument did you start on?
So
What
I
did you start-
started in the summer of 1981. I started studying classical piano.
Awesome,
And my teacher was he was associated with Westchester University back then. We lived in Chester County at the time. We lived in Thorndale area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Was
took
it Pendel?
classical. What's that?
Pendel?
Thorndale.
No, you're way off.
No, you said he was affiliated with Westchester, and I studied at Westchester.
Oh,
and
Westchester University. He
Yeah,
was.
so there was
he was
Pendel
like
and there was-
Doctor.
Wait, is
Valletta's-
Pendel a name?
Mhm.
I thought it was a school
I don't know
district
what
you were talking about.
Pendel
Yeah, they got
is
a
way up in
baseball
the-
team. The whole
No,
bunch.
not a place.
Yeah, I was going to
a
say, I thought
professor.
Meg played
His last
basketball
name was
against
Pendel.
Pendel.
No. He was associated
Wait,
with.
is Penn first name Dell last name or Pendel?
Pendel.
Okay.
Pendel.
lucky that he
I
ended-
I think it's
can't remember his
hyphenated,
first
John.
name.
I am Pendel. I teach you piano.
I never even heard.
Let me see if I can find it.
Please to take my lesson.
I studied with a man named Ed Elmore, Edwin Elmore.
It's just I didn't say anything for like 10 minutes, and then I said something, and the car was like, What? What
I
did you
just
say?
never heard that as a
Pendel? We're
surname
not
before.
talking. Okay.
Pendel.
I can be quiet.
Wait,
I don't think that's right. That can't be right. No one's last name is Pendel. Anyone listening on here, is their last name Pendel?
I guess I imagine.
Call in
I
right
imagine
now.
that whole semester at Westchester.
Call it. Do we have a call-in line? Can Pendels call in?
no, we have an email. You know how many emails we've gotten to our Chico's the Vibecast at. We got no emails. So
I find that hard to believe.
I didn't even know that
well, I haven't
existed.
checked it in a month and a half.
I didn't even know we had people could write
God,
in.
thanks for reading my emails.
All right.
Started on classical piano.
Okay, classical piano. I'm going to try going quick with this because it's involved. But I started going with classical piano. My dad was in bands all throughout the 80s. I heard him in rehearsals. Yada 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 yada. By 1986, I was playing Bartok, Kabalevsky,
Wow.
Gershwin. And I started to hear the stuff that my dad was playing, George Benson and other, even Whitney Houston and stuff like that in his band. So I wanted to get into that. And right away, I started hearing jazz harmony. There was something about jazz harmony that I thought it was about the best thing in the world. And I started teaching myself how to transcribe music. So all of this extracurricular activity meant I wasn't practicing my classical lessons. And I remember probably around 87, I went into a lesson with my classical teacher, and he says to me, okay, well, I have to use the bathroom, in the middle of the lesson. He goes, my doctor has me on water pills. I got to go use the bathroom. So as he's in the bathroom, I start, I was probably 12 or 13. I start playing these chord voicings that I kind of taught myself through deductive reasoning. I started messing around just
Sherlock
because he
Holmes.
had a really cool piano. He had a nice Yamaha in his studio, and those chord voicings did not sound like my home piano. So I wanted to use this brief opportunity. He's in the bathroom, He came out
Get up and leave.
and heard me messing
Yeah,
around, and he
yeah.
says, now keep in mind, this piano teacher I had looked just like Ronald Reagan, talked like him, looked like him, his mannerisms were like him.
Did you like jelly beans?
There you go again.
So
Well,
came
play
out-
me a C chord, Jason.
he came out and he says, well, now that's fine if you want to play saloons for the rest of the
There's always that situation in those stories. Always someone saying like, "You're
but
never going to
the
amount
thing,
to
the
anything."
thing that was, he goes, well, now that's fine if you want. And it was interesting that he started that sentence off with, that's fine if.
Well, that's
The
fine.
way he structured that sentence was really interesting to me. So I thought, I had some, just by the fact that he didn't like it, I thought I had something. And, I would go to my dad and ask him about, Dad, what's an E minor 9 chord, and he goes, listen, I want you to just concentrate on your classical
Really?
stuff for now.
He
Eventually,
avoided-
I dragged
he avoided your question.
I drug it out of my dad what these chords were, and I got a hold of his chord voicings book, and I kept transcribing. I would transcribe my dad took me to see Pat Metheny Group in 1987, and I was a huge Lyle Mays fan. He was bigger
Can
than
I ask an
life to
ignorant
me.
question?
Yeah.
Who's Lyle Mays and what does he play?
Lyle Mays was the piano player.
Okay.
Rest in peace. Was the piano player for the Pat Metheny band, and I was listening to Chick Corea, Return to Forever.
Oh, yeah.
And a huge Herbie Hancock fan, and this music just completely turned me on. But I didn't really know how to. I just used my ears, and I would transcribe. I would write the notes down on staff paper. I didn't know how to write the rhythms yet, and I would transcribe it using this little sampling keyboard I had back then. Long story short, by December of 1987, I had a repertoire of tunes that could fill about an hour of playing.
Wait, so
By then,
1987, how old?
my
were you?
dad, 12.
Wow.
My dad put me on my first job. I made my first $50 in December of 1987 playing the Four Seasons Hotel in
Excellent.
Philadelphia.
Holy moly.
Playing WPVI TV's annual Christmas party. So I got thrown out of the nest right away.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
wore
really.
a tuxedo. My dad, we went to After Six was a company back then. It's not around anymore.
Oh, I
but bought
remember.
my
I
first
remember that, yeah.
tuxedo. And I was hooked. I mean, I was hooked. As soon as I made that money, that was in
Yeah.
December of '87. I would go for the next, I don't know, until I left for college for the next 6 years, every weekend playing cocktail hours and playing solo piano. And I got into bands. Now, in junior high, a group of guys wanted to form a band with me, and I thought in my head, okay, well, these guys are kind of going to be on the same level as my dad's band. Now, my dad was working with the best musician. He was working with like Grant McAvoy and Steve Strawitz
You're about
and
to have a
all
rude
the
awakening.
best
Steve,
musicians
play
in
with
Philly at the time. And I'm thinking, oh, well, everybody must play like that, So I joined this junior high band. They gave me a list of tunes they played. I learned all of them because I'm thinking the level of, and I showed up for the rehearsal and it was complete chaos. In fact, like 20 minutes into it, these guys didn't even want to play. They wanted to go out and play football. So eventually I got into my own dance band in the early 90s, my first dance band, Magic Land.
As a dancer?
As a I did dance a little bit. When I
You can tell
could,
that now during Dance to the Music when he did
Oh, yeah.
It's paid off.
yeah, and then I ended up going to college as a bass major. I was always a piano player.
Wait, so when did you pick up the bass? Because the first time I met you was at the 5 spot with the Hoey Orchestra, and you were on
On bass.
upright bass.
Well, I
and
played-
that's what I knew you as.
I
is
started
a
playing
bass player.
cello in 3rd grade.
Jeez.
I wanted to play upright bass in 3rd grade. I was already playing piano for about like 4 years at this point, and I wanted to play upright bass. They said I was too small. It was just too big of an instrument. They wouldn't let me play it. I thought that was BS. I thought that
That's the
they
same
just
shit
didn't
they
have
told
enough-
me on the St. Dennis basketball team.
Yeah, that's right.
What, that you couldn't play
And I
bass?
didn't even have to get a ball.
Get that upright bass off the field.
Court. Sorry, court.
And even when I was a cello player, I would practice. I'd practice walking bass lines on the cello. I didn't want to play the cello. I wanted to play. I always loved root movement. Loved bass lines. So
Awesome.
I picked up upright bass in later on, and then I some guy that was in a band that I was in high school left his bass over my house one night, and I picked the thing up, and not to toot my own horn, but I just played moon dance on it. Never touching an electric bass before. I held it in my hands, and the damn thing just made sense to me. And I put on the Van Morrison, and I just started dun 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 dun, and that was it.
It's a very prolific songwriter.
2
He's hooked
years
for the
later,
second time.
I passed an audition to major on upright bass
Wow.
in University of the Arts,
Yeah.
which is where I went, and so I got my degree from there. Graduated.
And,
Did you ever go back to the first band and play like a reunion gig?
Guys in in
The
junior high?
chaos
I mean,
football
are you
guys.
talking about the junior high guys or my first professional?
No, the junior high guys.
Oh, the junior high.
Let me see. There was one guy named Rich Hepner, and we only could play one song all the way through, and that was the Summertime Blues. Ain't no cure for the summertime.
It's like all our podcasts coming together.
Yeah. And I think Start Me Up we could probably play all the way through.
Best opener
But
of
Start Me Up
any
was
set
That's a
ever.
no-brainer.
Did you know that? Best opener of any set ever.
No-brainer.
So wait,
yeah.
so
We had a client tell us that.
Well, I would take that to heart. That's gold. She's giving you gold there.
Jason, you've played classical, you love jazz, you play a lot of pop/rock. What do you like the most, or do you like them all?
Well, I'm a jazz guy. I mean, if it was up to me, I would be playing in jazz quartets, jazz trios, 5 nights a week, playing hard edge, like McCoy Tyner trio style jazz. Now, obviously, you can't make a living at that. Luckily, I'm an absolute sucker for what they call yacht rock.
Yeah.
Because it's the music I grew up listening to. I have a strong sentimental connection with that soft rock that came about in the 70s and lasted into the 80s. And even though the party bands I work with don't play all that stuff, they do a lot of the top 40, Katy Perry. Katy Perry's not even. Dua Lipa, I guess that's
They're
a
close,
that's a,
yeah.
that's
And
a modern.
so
but
if our listeners can see the setup, it's Dennis, me, Gabby, and then Jason and Ed are on the couch. The only two people who know, well, you might know because Dua Lipa is the couch people.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, 'cause I don't know.
Well, I only
anything about
know it
Dua.
because I have to learn it. I currently probably sub in with about 8 different dance bands, and they all kind of. And that's something I wanted to. Chico's Vibe is different than every other band I work with. It's like this own entity that's unlike anything that's out there, which is why I've gotten so much from working with Chico's Vibe for, and I go back to the Hoey days, 1994, 95.
Caledonia
And,
days.
I mean, yeah, that's 27
Caledonia.
years. I've
Skinny
known-
legs.
brings it up.
Now, I've known Dennis since he had a bowl cut,
He said I had a bowl cut.
He had his bowl cut,
That was during the Dita phase, right? It's now time on Sparkles on
Did you
Dance.
Remember during the
Bangla
grunge
Boodle.
period where guys were parting their hair in the middle, and it was like,
Yeah.
that's the haircut
Elliot
Dennis
Ness,
had.
19.
Wait, did you know when he had the ponytail? Because he went through a ponytail.
Yeah, I
Yes.
did, but this was even before that.
You didn't know me when you had the ponytail, but I knew you. And I saw him, and I'm like, that guy knows Kung Fu.
Did you?
Everybody.
Well, no. My roommates were Matt Gallagher and Mike McCarthy that played in the Hoey band. So when they had a public gig, I would come out from Westchester and watch you guys, and you had your ponytail back then, and Steven Seagal was big.
Oh yeah.
So
right.
I just
Oh,
saw
my
him like,
gosh.
I bet if anybody gets out of it, because I was in a band with the Chaplinskys, and people would like yell stuff, play this, yeah. I could just see like you'd just be like snap the
Chico,
guy's
what
neck,
years did you have
and, like
your
toss the
ponytail?
body behind the stage.
They want to cut. They want to cut the cake now.
What years did you have your ponytail? Can you give me a timeline?
I had a couple of them up through the 90s.
Because I
It was
cool.
during the Hoey band. I
Yeah.
remember because
And
we
then
had
even in the
pictures
Chico-
in all black
Yeah, I
and your
remember
hair
us
pulled
down
back.
like maybe the
In the
Avalon
Chico's
Yacht Club.
Vibe a
Yeah.
little bit,
Standing
too.
outside.
Yeah, so we took
You looked
pictures
like
out there.
Fiorio from.
I could have sworn.
Yes, that's the brother.
The first time I worked with Dennis and John Hoey's band at the 5 Spot, I think I was running 101 degree temperature that night. I was sick as a dog, and they made us take a break down in the room
Yeah.
Yeah.
downstairs that was the same temperature as outside. It was the middle of the winter. It wasn't heated. And I started drinking beers. I'm thinking, well, I'm running a temperature. I'm dying as
You
it
weren't on the
is, so.
you weren't on the gig where we wore the nun outfits. were you?
No.
No, I don't
No,
think
he
of that.
wasn't on that.
But
No, that
I
was Sirio.
Oh yeah.
I was on that
We'll
gig,
have
and
none of that.
I just remember. I remember Dennis. The showman you were
Yeah,
right off the
That was
bat
good then.
blew my mind.
Back in
Well,
the
you
old
still
days.
are. But yeah, for some reason
Were you-
I like joined together the two. I joined together Hot Pants and Caledonia in my
Hot
head.
pants! Oh my God!
I could have sworn you said on that first gig. You know the number one thing I like about Caledonia? You know because what you see is what you get. Hit me. But I don't think that was right. I
you
must
in-
be blurring those two things
Were you
together.
Were you
and-
like the Memphis Soul Stew days and the skinny legs and all?
Yeah.
Yeah, but now
Jeez.
this must have. Well, you know what? That must have been.
I was
now,
so
I got
embarrassed.
together in that. I got together in that garage. You must have called me for the
Yes.
first rehearsal.
Yeah.
John's
And I
garage.
came out to at the end of a class that I had at UArts. I came down to the garage in like Upper Darby to rehearse with you guys for the first
Wait,
time.
what the hell was that?
Or an art.
That was my
Garage.
parents'
Yeah.
garage.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
It was like in a back. It was
Yes.
a separate garage.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and right away I see this tall guy with mutton chops. And I'm
Big
looking
Paul.
I'm looking at the mutton chops, and I go, wait a minute. You were in a band with my dad in the '70s. I remember those mutton chops. The only thing is they turn gray. and Paul, you know how Paul would. When you'd start talking about something, he'd look at you very sensitive.
Turned his
He'd tilt his head
Like a puppy.
and he'd be and he'd listen to. Yes, I remember. He
Yes,
had to
that's
be
it.
very
Yes,
sensitive, and that is what connected me. I'm thinking this is like a part of my past here.
Yeah.
It's in this band,
Right.
and I think right away I was drawn to John Hoey,
The experience,
Chico's
yeah,
vibe.
So you didn't know Vic back then, huh?
Victor North. I
Yeah.
met Victor North through. Are you talking about Victor North?
Yeah, when back in the
I met him through your band.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I started playing jazz with Victor.
Right.
Years later.
I used to go watch Vic's trio down at Ortlieb's Jazz House. Were any of you guys ever there?
Yes. Yeah.
Many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
It was a
Love that
second
Did
home
he
for a
show up
while.
on time?
Vic didn't show up.
No, I'm wondering because he was always late for
Oh,
gigs. I always remember Tim Toomstra.
chasing him across the fairway.
With a clipboard. Right?
Yes. Well, so talking to Yacht Rock, I think I know your favorite song. Laughter in the Rain?
Yes. How did you know? What kind of who you been talking to?
It's a great
Guy Tony
song.
Sirico, rest in peace. He just died.
He
the,
did.
The psychic
Paulie
who was
Wallace.
able to tell all the guys, "Hey, who you been talking to? Don't fuck with me."
What is it about that song? I mean, is it music? Is it something music or
Okay.
just the ambiance? Because it's a beautiful.
My
song.
dad, and once again, it goes back to my dad. My dad in 1983, and back then they put showcase videos on VHS tape. They recorded them with these big, and as part of the dinner set, my dad was in the Paris band, and as part of the dinner set, on the showcase video, they played the Errol Clue version of Laughter in the Rain, which is like a nylon. And I loved this song. I would watch my dad's showcase video over and over. I'd play along with it. And then finally, years later, I heard the Neil Sedaka, the original version. Well, that's actually not the original. Leah Roberts recorded it before Neil Sedaka.
He wrote it, right?
Neil Sedaka
he wrote it.
Right? Yeah.
And it's funny how the music business works because Neil Sedaka wrote the tune.
I heard the story.
And he said, we've got to get this song out before Leah Roberts does.
She recorded it. and he wanted to-
And it was like weeks apart. I'm thinking, but he wrote the song. Doesn't he have control of that kind of thing? But apparently he didn't. So she got it. And by the way, Leah Roberts' version is just awesome in every way. I got to listen to other stuff she did. Just a fabulous singer from back then. Very underrated. But anyway, I heard the Neil Sedaka version a few years later after my dad did this showcase video. And we were down the shore at the time, and the song's just always stuck with me. So it's rare for professional musicians to have one favorite song. That's more like a layperson.
Okay.
Not to sound offensive, but
So, that
that's
means I'm
more
a
like a
layperson.
layperson thing. But when people say, what's your favorite song? I can actually say Laughter in the Rain is by far, for some reason,
Excellent.
my favorite tune.
No, that's a great song.
Yeah.
So one thing I have written down is I've heard you during gigs do Dennis Chiquino impressions. Not necessarily in the same voice, but in terms of.
Well, I think I get the voice pretty.
Okay, can you do it for us here now?
We saved all of our songs, best songs for the last set. And another one,
you got it.
another one is, and I started.
He's taking the mic off the stand.
I started doing this because I was always for years and years working with Dennis. When he'd show up to a gig, coming across the parking lot, carrying his stands and whatever you carry with you, your stool.
Your stool.
It wasn't
Oh, right,
when I
sorry.
would first physically interact with him or see him. It wasn't like a, hey, how you doing? It's more of like a, I can't figure out how to get into this parking lot. I can't, where was it? I can't. And so it just came to be about every time I'd see Dennis for the first time, I wouldn't say hello like a normal person. I would, I just can't figure out where, they said to go around here. And that's become like a connection.
Then
for
you
us.
jumped on to the Stretch Funeral Home.
That's right. Well, yes. Fact is, I forgot to mention.
We were playing Keenan's around 2010 with Chico's Vibe. And Dennis just had this shirt that said Stretch Funeral Home on the back. And I just thought that was the coolest thing.
Yes.
Having something that says Funeral Home on your T-shirt. That was something I never considered before. And I was I had to get one of those shirts. And then I started wearing the Stretch Funeral Home shirt around media, which is my hometown. And I'd have people coming up to me in the diner, how do you know Timothy Stretch? Or how do you know Arthur Stretch? Or however many Stretches there are,
Yeah.
And the women would put their arm around me, get their faces right close up to my breathing on me and stuff as I'm trying to eat my eggs and scrapple. I'm like, do you mind? Can you give me a little bit of space, please? Okay? I'll tell you about it, but you've got to
I'm going to put you in stretches in a minute.
And
Meanwhile, there's a big map laid across the table, and he's like plotting a course, like this flight path. Everything. I'm doing important stuff over here. I'm transcribing Yacht Rock, and I'm plotting my course over here.
when I'm eating breakfast, when I'm eating scrapple and eggs, that's a serious bit.
That's not when
You'll get
You
your
don't
hands
interrupt.
bit off.
Don't talk about Stretch during that.
Yeah,
time.
I mean, I don't mind them talking about Stretch. I'll talk about
No,
Stretch
because
while I'm eating, but the whole putting their arm around me, it's like women when I'm in lounges playing piano. Women will sit down on the bench next to me without my permission and just start groping me. And they start.
Never happens to sax or trombone.
This is no
It's
secret. I
just
tell
never-
my wife
Hey,
that they'll
doll
start
baby.
touching my butt and touching my breasts and stuff. And,
Hey, do you know the stripper?
yeah, and I guess back in my single days it wasn't that bad, but now I'm like, look, especially with COVID and stuff, I was like, look, You gotta. You can't sit next to me.
You know, in 1926, I was a 10. I used to dance and play with Calvin Coolidge.
It's the same thing with the stretch. So we had the stretch.
Your appearance
but
today.
he actually knows the stretch people.
Yeah,
I only know them.
I'm
on
glad you
Gabby
brought it up
knows.
because his appearance today is sponsored by Stretch Funeral Home.
Now, here's
Oh, get out of here. Really?
here's a little story. Here's a little story.
Sort of.
I had the copy here, which is they.
I don't think I ever met
Stretch
any
is
of the
pleased
Stretches.
to announce their forthcoming Jason Long custom casket line.
Tell them to get it ready. If I keep drinking,
Yes,
this
lucky
bourbon
customers
like that.
can choose from individually designed caskets, the upright base casket, the Marshall Stack replica casket, or the top of the line baby grand piano casket with working keyboard, which Jason will play.
Well, apparently, I'm not too far from being in that casket. I mean, I sweat a lot when I eat, so that's a sign.
I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
So you noticed I had a Stretch shirt on that said it on the back, Stretch Funeral Home or whatever. And was that the one with like the Superman?
Yeah, it's
No,
got the
S
no,
in the front?
No, I know the Superman one. The first time I saw you with it, and I just got out of aviation. I was like on this high that I was back in the music business full time, and I was doing those Keenans the summer of 2010. And
There's something
you
that
had-
doesn't go
you had a
together. I
blue
was on a
Stretch
high
shirt.
and at Keenan's.
Yeah,
right.
and you had a blue Stretch shirt. I think it was like blue. It was not.
I've
the
had
green.
all the Stretch variations.
And I was very
They have a
impressed
line.
with that.
Yeah.
They have a line of
And they also have their own sayings, like the last to let you down,
Right.
and all that
Oh,
kind
I
of
know.
stuff.
That's
All that
great.
stuff.
I love that.
How are they not a real sponsor of this?
They've talk about sponsors. This is 100% absolutely true. When I first started playing like baseball in the Little League, I played in the Merwood League, which is in Havertown, down
Yeah,
in
I
Merwood
played there.
Park.
Yeah.
And I was on like the Cardinals, I think. Our sponsor.
Oh yeah.
No lie.
The Bad News Bears,
Yeah.
Chico's Bail
Chico's
Bonds.
bail bond.
This is 100% true. On the back of our shirts, Stretch Funeral Home.
Yeah.
Then I was
why
on the
not?
Dodgers at
Are
Merwood.
you on the
I
Dodgers?
was
of
on the
Merwood?
Dodgers.
Oh, that's awesome. So last question, Jason. What's your favorite cigar?
Well, now or for all? I switch cigars
Well,
every.
what could you recommend cigar-wise? I mean, what
I would start off with my father cigar. They're a Nicaraguan. Well, he's based in Miami now, Connecticut wrapper. But my father is a really nice, solid, even for. Not that I want to rope anybody into cigar smoking, but it's a really nice. It's part of the Don Pepin line.
Well,
they
there
can
you
give
go,
me their
folks.
kickback check later on for plugging them here.
Yeah,
Maybe we get a pop-up
Yeah,
ad for
but my father is a good cigar. I was a Padron 5000 fan for years until one too many of them came apart in my hand as I'm smoking, and that's I said I'm done with this.
What do you think of Wolf Brothers Crooks?
I never heard of them.
So me and my
Is that
buddy,
like a Philly blunt?
me and my boys used to smoke in high school. Dipped in wine, soaked in rum.
Oh, yeah, that's.
oh my God.
How,
Well, excellent. Well, thank you, Jason. That was
if you
good.
bring one by, I'll smoke it. How's that?
They still make them. I'll try to get a pack of them.
Any question? Well, what time is it, man? How long? How deep are we in? 8:05. All right. Any question? You said you had lots of questions. We're gonna go with one or two for time constraints. What do you want to ask? If you don't,
Ed,
oh, sorry, Ed.
But what's before the Big Bang?
when
I don't know.
Now, I sat and listened to your first Chico's Vibe podcast. Now, this question's off the top. I didn't plan this question out. It just came to me about 5 seconds ago. You talked about your roots as a sax player in your family when you were young. It sounded like you were describing life in like the 20s in South Philly. You and I are the same age.
Yeah.
And you were like,
We're
well,
exactly a
back then
year
it was
apart.
customary for, your parents to do this and that. And I'm thinking, What year is Ed talking about back then?
This is like the Irish heritage in South
80s.
Philly.
Now, that's my question. Were you guys, not to sound offensive, but is the Irish heritage thing in South Philly, is that like caught back in time? Is that...
I can only talk from my own frame of reference. I feel like my childhood is the same as like pop culture wise. Like with somebody with your age, you have like you remember Thriller, you remember Star Wars. You know there's certain, and I notice if you're a few years older than me, it's more heavier towards sports. So it's like those different kind of experiences. But my neighborhood was mostly like first generation, like most people's
and they
parents.
Said you weren't athletic, so you may as well.
But I just remember my mother telling me, like, my dad would always joke about how naive my mother would be about something. Like he'll say, "Let's go watch the submarine races," and she would turn and be like, "Well, how are you going to see those?" And he's like, "I want to make out with you, Rose. I want to make out with you." He would say something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he wanted to pee.
Come on, that's great.
Yeah, and he wanted to pee in the snow one time. He's like, "Oh, we could write my name," and she's like, "Oh, let me see you do that." But when I asked her about that, I was like, she said, "I think I'm naive because my parents were immigrants. They didn't know the country. They didn't know the pop culture. Like, my mother got it by watching Ed Sullivan and all that.
My
kind
mom
of stuff.
grew up in South Philly in the Wilson Street projects. Those 3 brown buildings down there, and she said it's something about South, because I was listening to your portion. And it seems like something about South Philly and you guys growing up down there where they only give you 2 choices for everything. When my mom was growing up in those projects, they told the women back then, the girls, you have 2 choices. You can either go be a nun or you can go work for the phone company. That's like all you have, you know?
My mom
and
worked
my
for
mom was like,
There you
screw
go.
you. I'm going to art school, you know.
Oh, that's
Mom
cool.
wanted to be a ballet dancer and an artist, you know, but that was like... I don't want to make it seem like South Philly stuck back in the Stone Ages. It's just the parallels between how you were describing things on that. I was fascinated.
You know, I think it was old school Catholic,
Yeah,
Irish.
yeah.
I mean, I went to. I didn't know that Jewish people didn't believe that Jesus was
The
you know how I
Messiah.
found out?
I didn't either.
I found out by going to Fleischer Art School, and I'm in class and I'm drawing, and this girl comes, and it was the first Jewish girl I ever met, and I was like, "What'd you get for Christmas?" She's like,
boy.
"I don't celebrate Christmas."
Yeah.
Well,
And I
that's
was
a
like,
good
"You poor
in.
thing.
Yeah.
Why not? Why don't you know?" Because I'm Jewish, and I'm like, "What?" So
How'd
my
she
world,
look?
my world got just like everybody else.
Yeah,
like
going to
once you
college,
go to
yeah.
college, and then,
Yeah, right.
All right, you ready? It's time for a round, a true lightning round
All right.
of Love It, Keep It, Trash It. Man,
Trash
I thought we'd do 3 minutes. See what we can get through.
All right.
But I'll name a song that's it's a little bit of a deep track on the Chico's Vibe set list, and you have to respond with Love It, Keep It, or Trash It. And Jason, just to give you what that kind of means is give you an example on how this works. So if I use Boogie Shoes as an example for myself, I hate the song Boogie Shoes. I've come to hate it. You know, so I don't love it.
Trash it.
So I wouldn't say trash it to Boogie Shoes because people love it.
Yeah.
So I would say keep
Well,
it.
I'm always business minded, so I'm going to respond on that level.
Okay,
rather
that's
than what I
fine. You respond
personally
however
like. Okay.
your perspective is. So that's love it, keep it, trash it.
from a business level.
Right. So
Yeah.
what we're
So
gonna
I'm
do
afraid I
is,
do the same thing.
we will go.
you
Might as
do
well go
your
left or right.
Caledonia.
Right? We don't do Caledonia.
Love it.
He's always talking about it.
So do Dennis, Gabby, Jason, Ed. Does that sound good?
But you'll
So
say the
Sounds good.
tune though.
I'll
so
say
we
the,
don't.
I'll say the song and
Yeah.
you guys go. Ready? Smooth.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it.
I need to know. That's the Latin medley.
Keep it.
Love it.
Keep it.
Trash it.
Gabby said love it.
Jungle Boogie.
Love it.
Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it.
You just liked. You just loved. What was the one right before that?
I need to know.
I need to know. I don't- all right. I always argue.
Wait,
I always argue with Gabby's pick.
Yeah, shoot. The Impossible Dream.
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Ooh, look at that. That's the first tune we've ever
Man,
done.
La Mancha.
Everybody said love it. I think it is from the last time. We didn't have any all love
It
it.
feels good.
You're
playing
going
it.
back.
All right, Someone Like You, Van Morrison.
Trash it.
Yeah, trash it.
Keep it. People like it.
I keep it. I like the register that.
I love that song. Okay. Uptown Girl. I noticed that we didn't do it.
Love it. Every time I put in set list, Gabby skips over.
Yes, that's why it's on the list. So
He picked the song.
Is it a vocal killer, Gab?
Wait a minute.
I
I
picked
didn't.
it.
I didn't pick the song.
Who picked it? I didn't pick it. Oh, you picked it. Yeah.
You keep it.
Parky
Keep
picked
it.
it, folks.
What does that come from, though? You wanting to skip it? I'm curious.
Well, it depends on where it is during
This is a
the.
lightning round.
oh, I'm sorry.
It depends on where it is during the
You're
gig.
adding
But
too
people
much
dig it.
commentary.
Keep
Have you
it.
noticed
no,
that?
I'm just saying. He's asking me why sometimes I skip over
Yeah, I
it.
wanna
It's
know, too.
because depending on where it is at the gig, I might be like exhausted,
All right.
and it's
That's a
it's
fair
all
point.
up
It's all
in the
up
upper
Hey,
register.
Gabby, I've seen that look in your eye too when you get that. It's scary. Shit, is it scary? You.
I know the look,
When
even if I
you
don't see
get-
him making
when
it.
you don't
I can
like
feel it. I
the
can
direction,
you feel the
I
temperature.
stay far away from you, man. You'll knock me back into the side wall if I say that.
You ever see that
wrong
Harry
thing.
Potter movie? The windows go. Yes! And the ice forms, and you just
Oh
look
my
over, and
God.
Gab's like, dun, 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 dun.
Especially when used two are going at it. Here, you and Dennis.
When you're like,
I
Gabby,
stay
shout.
clear.
Okay, none of this counts.
Damn
It's
it.
the lightning round time slot.
No.
Wait, so
Stop the clock.
here's a song we haven't done. I don't even know when, but for some reason I saw it and I'm like, I didn't ask about this. You may not even remember it. True by Spandau Ballet.
Trash it. I remember doing it maybe twice. We had to learn it for a wedding.
Yeah, trash it.
I absolutely adore it.
Is that
I
the,
adore that song.
Finally,
I
I have
love-
it.
I think it's a good
I
first
love
set.
that
I love that
song.
wait,
song.
is that the song?
the lyrics are
step- No, it's the one.
Oh, this.
Yeah.
Get
rid
It's
of
got
it.
this great sax on the way.
I love that song on so many levels. It's not even
All right,
funny.
we'll play it when you're on a gig.
There we go.
Has somebody calling in trash?
He's got a ticket to the world.
Somebody
All right.
calling to say trash.
Matt, put a minute back on.
Doesn't
Okay,
it-
yeah,
no,
well-
isn't it a ticket for a plane or a train? It's a ticket to the world.
Give me a ticket to the world.
Yeah.
And now I've come back again. What's that?
Tell me when to start this list.
Oh, God. I'm not even halfway done the song list.
Put another 2 minutes on.
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
All right, no more comments. Just
Runaway.
Love it.
love it.
Keep it.
I want to keep it.
Just make sure, Jay, do you know which version of Runaway we're talking about?
My
As
little runaway.
Yeah.
Run away.
I want to see because it's a new one. I'm
yeah,
fishing for
No,
what
I don't
people
know the
think.
new
Band
one.
on the Run.
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
I enjoy it. Love it.
Wings.
Wait, that's not one of the categories.
Staying Alive.
I'd say keep it.
That's another category.
Keep it.
Love it. Adore it. Adore Saturday Night Fever.
I would say
sounds-
keep it. People like it. I don't know why.
I fell
but-
asleep.
No, I'd say trash it.
Yeah, God,
Yeah.
yes.
Lights.
Lights. Love it.
Yeah, I love it.
keep it.
What are you supposed to do in the dock? You ain't got lights. Keep it.
Margaritaville.
Trash it. from your yacht stock.
Mutilate it.
Keep it.
From business point
The
of view,
only
gotta
good
keep
part of it is when we change salt into
Stop the
so
clock,
good,
man.
so good, so good.
That's right. You guys do that.
Right? Jump.
What is that? Oh yeah, no,
Love it.
that's I love it.
I
too,
love it.
yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I love Jump. My
Born to
general.
Run.
Trash it.
I say keep it.
It's a once Bruce Springsteen song I like, so I love it.
I don't love it.
Keep it.
Power of Love.
Love it.
Yeah, keep it.
Love it.
Keep it.
Hooked on a Feeling.
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
I love the
BJ
hybrid
Thomas.
version that Gebby made.
Oh wait, I don't like the Ooga Chaka.
Yeah, we.
I
you're
don't
going
like
with the
that.
BJ
I don't
Thomas
know.
version. versus
Right.
No, I like.
Who the
Yeah,
hell-
I love
who
the
the hell
horn
came
version.
up with that
Debbie did a
version of
hybrid
that song?
version.
Blue
Yeah,
Suede is the Ooga
Now,
Chaka.
do it.
Get the hell out of here, Blue Suede. BJ Thomas is
Right.
Ooga
We do
Chaka,
it-
That's classless. I don't know.
We do
why
it
they
that
did
way. We start with the BJ Thomas, but then in the chorus,
Right,
Right, we have the little
puts
horn
the horn
riff from the
section.
Blue
Yeah,
Suede.
no, BJ Thomas. The
Yeah.
other version.
Make it. You made it
sucks.
our own.
We did.
yeah, we made it Chico's Vibe version.
That gets us through. Love it. Keep it. Trash it. Another
Yeah.
exciting.
I say
Well,
we
that's
trash,
exciting, yeah,
love
well.
it, keep it.
I'm glad we didn't play a dirtier
Keep it.
version of that.
I
game.
think
I think in addition to having Jason, we should always have Brian Farr and Love It, Keep It Trashy because he was very definitive, especially when he was
when he
trash.
didn't glitch out though,
Brian
he's like
is a very definitive guy.
keep it.
And I like how much he's singing lately.
Keep-
I think
yeah.
you guys are really
Keep-
giving him that responsibility. Thank you for that.
The Philadelphia music community.
Yeah, it was great because we'd be like, love it, keep it, trash it,
Trash
then
it.
you'd hear, love it.
Yes, that's it's time for our songs from the set list segment. Our segment where we talk about a song that is a classic in the Chico's Vibe repertoire. This month's song from the set list is September, chosen by Matt
Yeah.
Kelly. It's by Earth, Wind, and Fire, obviously. Earth, Wind, and Fire is a band kind of like when we talked about Chicago. I mean, they're a hugely influential band on what we do. They're one of the seminal horn
Sure.
bands. So you guys probably know Maurice White founded the band in 1970, and this is a quote, with a mission to uplift humanity through music.
Yeah, God bless him. God bless him. One of the better humans that's ever existed.
There you go.
And rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, I think he passed away
When he-
2016.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
he died, it took about a week for me to
Oh, I'm sorry.
that. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just
But the band was named after Maurice White's astrological sign. He's a
Yeah.
Sagittarius. And I guess there are elements that go along with it. It's earth, air, and fire, but he didn't like the sound of earth, air. He went with earth, wind, and fire. They added the horn section. I mean, they always used horns, but he added the horn section that we know and everybody's familiar with, the Phoenix horns in 1975. But the song September was released in 1978. It was released as part of so many people had this album. It was called The Best of Earth, Wind, and Fire, Volume 1. So it was a track added to that, Best of. It was released in November 1978, and September was released on November 18th. It eventually went to number 8 on the Billboard Hot
So
100.
stupid. Why couldn't they release it in September?
Because you got to remember.
Doesn't work like
you
that.
have to remember the 21st night of September, so it has to be after.
that's a great
in the
point.
future.
Yeah.
Got it. There you go. The light bulb goes off.
Because nobody ever goes, I remember when, right now. I remember when I was recording that
Be very
podcast. right
retro
now.
then, and
see,
be very nowtro.
As I sent you guys, they somewhat unfortunately redid the lyrics in 2014 to change it to December. Do you remember the 25th night of September? If they had
of
done that
December.
originally,
Who
it'd be
did
one of the
that?
greatest Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
Oh well, if they did it, it's cool. If
But
anyone else
if they had
did
done
it,
it originally, it'd be
they'd
one
be
of
on
the
my
greatest
shit list.
Christmas songs ever. But
Yeah, you're right. It's one lyric away from
Yeah.
lyric change.
But it hit number 8 February 10th, 1979, which surprised me. It only got to number 8. But so I wondered, normally I check the top 5 for the year it was released, but the way it was released ended the year, and the way it was released, it wasn't on the top 100 for the year for 78. It was like number 78 for the year 1979, and that's just because it straddled the year. So
yeah,
I thought,
the top 100s always take a little bit to catch up.
Yeah.
Maybe you're right.
So I thought, okay, if we got number 8, what beat it? So I have the list. It's an interesting list. 79. Number 1 was "Do You Think I'm Sexy" by Rod Stewart.
God.
my.
Wow.
Leave it.
Number 2 is another Chico's Vibe favorite, YMCA.
Trash it. Trash it.
Number 3 is La Freak.
That's good.
good
I
song.
always
Bernard
liked that
Edwards.
tune.
Yeah. Number 4 is "A Little More Love" by Olivia Newton-John.
I remember that song.
Yeah.
Number 5 is "Fire" by the Pointer Sisters.
Yeah,
not
it's
the Elmer
okay.
Fudd version.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, I played
You're
that.
gonna
some
burn.
bands.
Number
one?
6 is
Springsteen
Fire.
write that song.
Bum,
He did. It's a Springsteen
No,
song.
it's the I'm driving in my car.
Da, da,
Turn
da,
on.
You
That-
put on
that-
the
The
radio.
Did you ever hear Robin Williams do that? That's great.
So good.
Yeah.
Number 6 is a song called "Everyone's a Winner" by Hot Chocolate.
No, I don't know.
I don't know that one.
Everyone's a winner. You guys, if you hear it, you'll be like, I remember that," but it's not one that that's
Right.
Number 7 was "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor.
Ah.
Yeah, 78 was a year where they hit all of them, man.
Yes. 8 was September. 9 was "Too Much Heaven" by the Bee Gees.
Now I play that song. That's a great tune.
And number
really
10 is a
powerful.
song I like a lot, but didn't know it was that popular, called "Lot of Love" by Nicolette Larson.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna take a lot.
beautiful tune. Another
that's
song I play all the time.
The song was written by Maurice White, Al McKay, who was the guitar player in Earth, Wind & Fire, and a co-writer named Allie Willis.
She was responsible for the C-sharp dominant 7 as a secondary
That's-
dominant chord to
maybe.
the F-sharp minor.
Maybe.
Yeah.
She was brought in to help them
That's the only part she was
finish the
responsible
song.
for.
It's Allee, Allie Willis. She's co-written a bunch of songs. Like she co-wrote the theme from Friends.
Yeah.
But she
I've heard.
she could
Any of the songs?
yes.
The theme
Yes,
from
because
Friends,
I'm
the
getting-
show?
Well,
Show
I'll
Friends?
be there
The show
for
Friends.
you.
Okay.
By the
You
Rembrandts.
gotta have friends.
No.
Come on.
But so there's a kind of a 6 degrees of separation element with Allie Wilson, Chico's Vibe.
Ah.
Because
Light on me, brother.
Allie Willis co-wrote a song with one of your best friends.
Oh, I know who this is.
Wait a minute. Cimbella?
Yeah, she co-wrote the Neutron Dance with Danny Cimbella.
Ah.
Your microphone's nowhere near your mouth.
No.
I know. I knew he had a co-writer. I didn't know it was her.
It was the woman who co-wrote the song September.
Yeah, I've heard her. I've seen her name on sheet music.
Yeah, she's written a bunch
seems
of-
like
bunch
she's
of
gotten
stuff.
around. Jeez.
The song, there are so many great things about the song. And one thing which I've seen her online talk about, maybe one of the silly, interesting points about the song is the lyrics. Before we dive into music, so that part, "Body Ya," Body Ya, it was a filler line. She had written with Maurice White, say, "Do you remember Dancing in September?" Blah blah blah. But they put in "Body Ya" to try to as a placeholder for something to put in.
Ah.
And eventually Maurice White, she's like, "You got to change this," And the quote is, "What the fuck does body ah mean?" And he goes, "What the fuck does it matter? Let's keep it because it sounds great."
Yeah, right.
And but now it works so well. It's
Yeah.
weird that
Can I mention some technical aspects of that song?
Yeah.
Am I going to bore anybody?
No, that's
I'm
I
a
got that
I'm a
coming up.
theoretician, music theoretician. A lot of bands I play with play that tune, incorrectly on multiple levels. Chico's Vibe does not. You guys play that song pretty, and
Thank you.
And the thing,
We just truncated.
some of these other band leaders are probably going to be listening to this and you fucker.
You know what?
But
Now Matt can attest.
Listen.
Our listenership probably does not include other band leaders.
That tune, I mean, every band plays that song. I mean,
Yeah.
that's and different bands do that song different ways. The thing that's great about Chico's Vibe, and this is important, I think, for this podcast. The thing that's great about Chico's Vibe is you always know what song you're going to do next because of the set list. Chico's Vibe is like more of a, I don't know how to put it. It's like a music review kind of band. Whereas many bands I play with, September will go on and on and on because they don't know what song they're going to play next.
Really?
You told me a
You
couple
guys
weeks
get
ago.
in and out of a song, and I don't think you really realize how great that is. You take that for granted.
You told me a couple weeks ago this story. We were out having a smoke or something, and I said, "Well, what do you mean? They don't have a set list they're following?" No, they don't have a set list. No.
Set
I'm like,
list.
how the hell do you work?
To quote Wilson Good, that
They
blows,
will
that
not.
blows my
Other
entire
bands
mind.
will not do a set list. They will, and I don't think they could. I mean, no, that you got to read the floor and stuff. Which is, look, That's all well and good.
We do the whole night.
But the downside to that is you're taking songs like September, and the part that goes da 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 da, which you guys never get
we
to
don't
that
get to
part
that, yeah.
because you're already out of the song, which is
Right.
better. But I've played with bands that will do that da 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 20 times.
Oh my
over
God.
and
Oh
my
over
God.
again, because they're really trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do next.
Wow.
And it's a sad state of affairs.
I don't know. What do you want to do?
That's
What do you wanna do?
that's the first thing. Another thing is that's C sharp, which is the song's in the key of A.
It's a,
Right.
It never goes to the tonic chord. It's one of these rare tunes that never ever goes to the tonic chord. There is no A in there. There is an A, but it's a secondary dominant
Yes,
chord.
right.
It's an A suspended, which
Is that on
functions
like after the end of the chorus?
yes, and on the intro too.
Right. Okay.
It functions as a secondary dominant to the 4 chord, which
Right.
is the first chord of the, and the fancy word we use for that in the theory world is called it tonicizes. Tonicizes the 4 chord. It never goes. It never resolves
No,
that song.
it
It's a
never
song
does.
that never
Oh, that's
resolves.
kind of cool.
But the 3 chord, the C sharp minor, shows up a lot in
Yeah.
September, which the 3 chord barely ever shows up in modern music.
No.
Modern songwriters do not know what to do with a 3 chord.
It's usually maybe a part of a bridge or something.
It's not even
Yeah.
that. Sometimes it's just the 1 chord with the 3 in the bass, but there's no pure Phrygian mode anymore in music because I personally don't think people really know what they're doing.
If you're a
anymore,
modern
writing
songwriter,
songs.
please do
But-
not be insulted by no 3 chord in a song.
C sharp goes C sharp dominant, which is a 3 of 6, tonicizes the 6th chord, only on the verse to September.
Okay.
Bands will tonicize that 3 chord in the chorus as well, which is not correct.
Right.
And it's imperative. Now, YouTube is great. YouTube has songs like September that have isolated tracks to them. I
Yeah.
know you've listened to them,
Yeah.
Gabby.
Yeah.
They have isolated tracks. The first time I heard the piano
Well, that's
part on the isolated track, I'm like, holy shit.
because you don't
I've
notice the
been
piano.
playing it wrong all these years.
Right.
Well, okay, so I wanted to if you talk about the intro to September,
Ionicized.
it's so infectious. Is it because we know it? Is it 'cause there seems like there's so many layered things going
I
on in
think
that song,
it's
including the
because
bass line.
The guitar in that is the most important section.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
a very specific guitar part that happens on that intro.
Is it kind of sliding into?
Yeah, and now Gabby, you do the piano part, correct? I mean, you're one of the first people I ever heard that does that.
And it's like on the F sharp minor. I know what you mean.
And as the bass player is playing a minor, I think Verdine White plays a minor pentatonic
Yeah.
on that, and the parts to that song September fit together like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And that, that's what makes playing in party bands for me as a jazz guy. That's what makes it so worth it. I love that type of mystery in a song like September. Figuring this stuff out, figuring out the parts of the puzzle.
Right.
It's fascinating what studio musicians have done all those years.
Right.
You know?
An ignorant, more fundamental question. So if I'm looking at the chord charts, so Ed and I, first off, the horns on the song are just ridiculously interesting and good too. There's so many cool things happening. So if I'm looking at a chord chart, there's a lot of 7th chords. I mean, how does that affect it seems, from what I see, does that affect the character of the song, how
Yes.
it sounds?
Well, the D major 7, C sharp
Yeah.
minor 7,
Yeah.
E minor 7,
Yeah.
and then C sharp minor 7.
And it has the like a G major 7 over A
Yeah,
at
and
the end of the intro, leading into
G
the
major.
verse.
The F sharp would be an A13. Are they
I'm
playing
saying
an
at
F
the
sharp on
end
that?
of the intro.
Are you playing an F? I don't even know. Are they playing an F sharp on that A chord? That A
I
sus?
do. I play like a G
Yeah.
major 7 over A at
Yeah.
the end of the intro,
Yeah,
leading into the verse.
Okay.
yeah, but they're all 7th chords.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise
Which
you'd have
kinda-
just
it gives it a
triads.
character, I would think, that people don't notice, but they notice, but they don't really notice.
Right.
Yeah.
One other thing I thought was interesting, the recording of the song, which I read, which it makes sense when you think about it. The song actually, there's no click track, there's no metronome. It speeds
I
up.
didn't know that.
It
Yeah.
speeds
Oh,
up
it does speed up.
Yeah. Yeah, which adds to the drive of the
Right,
song,
because
I
the
think, too.
beginning, the tune is always like, yeah, and then
I never even thought about that.
and then when you
yeah.
get
To the
towards the end of the tune, it's
Who's the
Yeah.
drummer?
You're about there.
Did they use in-house Earth, Wind, and Fire guys? I know Verdine Weiss playing
According to
bass.
the Wikipedia, it's the Earth, Wind, and Fire guy.
Okay,
but
the
I-
drummers, because
yeah.
a lot of those guys would use the studio, but
No.
that's definitely Earth.
I think it's the
Verdine
Earth, Wind, and
White.
Fire guy. And then the
Yeah.
vocals are just phenomenal, too, because it's it's Maurice White on the verse, and then Philip Bailey, on the
Well,
chorus.
in that Chicago documentary, the drummer talks about moving to the click track.
Danny Serafin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
once they got hooked up with
that was his demise.
with,
Yes,
Foster.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Danny Serafin, that's why he got fired.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Maybe we can tag him. Now that we're talking about it.
yeah.
You know,
Sorry,
to have
Danny,
the ability
for-
to groove over a click track in the studio, it's a very rare skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But so if we talk about Chico's Vibe doing the song September, we do it as part of a medley,
Right.
right? Which like Jason said, I think.
Sing a song. What?
Yeah, good
3 songs.
medley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Medley.
You want to do the 3 songs?
Do we want to do them?
No. Do you want to tell people what they are?
Sing a song, or it starts with September.
September, sing a song, and let's
groove
groove.
tonight.
So who first picked
Matt
Matt
Gallagher.
Gallagher did the medley?
Matt Gallagher.
Matt
Yeah,
Gallagher probably.
I think Mike
found
Rose
it from
probably
other bands, because
wrote
I
the
was doing
track.
those same 3 songs
Oh,
in
controversy.
other bands for before Chico's Vibe was
Yeah.
done.
Well, I think there was a recording of Earth, Wind,
There
and
was
Fire
a live
doing
TV thing.
a live version
That's
of
where it
those
came.
songs.
That's where it came.
Okay.
Because we had that interlude between Sing
Yeah,
a Song
yeah,
and
yeah.
But the
Let's Groove
intros,
Tonight,
Yes.
which was off of
That's
their
right.
one of their live albums.
the intros into the Stone, which we don't
Yeah.
always do the intro,
Yep.
but
Right.
when we have, so
which is
was
my
that done
favorite
in
part.
concert somewhere where they started with Into the Stone,
No,
but then
we-
went into
we-
the.
We did that, Jeroz and
Jeroz in the
yeah, we
Stone.
kind of
Yeah,
put
and I
that
think
So that was
every
just a-
wedding
yeah.
band latched
Yeah.
onto those 3 songs. And now most wedding bands cut out Sing a Song in the middle. They go right to Let's Groove.
Oh,
Yeah,
jeez.
stupid asses.
That's right. And most wedding bands don't have Ed Mount and the horns spinning out front of the
That's
band.
right. Look at it come out front, dance now.
It's so funny because for years we were doing that. We're like jumping out, let's go, and then
Yeah.
it eventually became Dennis going, get out there.
No, what Dennis does is he acts surprised, even though it's happened a million times. He acts surprised. Wait a minute! Look at the horns are heading out.
You're
The
right.
horns.
See, he knows, like Jason knows.
I know all your idiosyncrasies. Yeah.
What can we do? Let's see what you can do with this one.
Wait a minute! Look, the horns are heading out. What do you think about that?
He does that. Not to go back to 01 a Night because we were talking about it, but on 01 a Night, the horns learned to for almost 25 years. Horns learned a brand new dance.
They're gonna do it just for you. Oh boy.
I don't know if you know, but when you're saying that, I'm acting like I have no idea what
I
you're
do.
talking
I
about.
noticed.
Amazing at that.
You're like looking at like.
I'm like, what the hell is he talking? And there's always this one or 2 people that are like, he doesn't know what's gonna. Oh, that guy's in trouble. Like, I love when I get that reaction. He doesn't know he's not going to. Oh, let's watch what happened.
It's
You know.
you know we're lucky
Egad.
because we're playing in front of wedding crowds who they don't see us.
I've never
Like
seen
maybe
us,
that's
yeah.
the only first time they've ever seen us, except for the Liney's and all the other weddings we play for.
Well, it's funny.
Santa Leary's.
It's interesting what goes. I can't tell what my brain thinks when we're doing weddings like the Liney's, where they know all our dances.
Oh,
And they do.
jeez, they know more than you think. Those guys.
It's like, is this good or bad? I don't know.
I think it's like flicking through the channels. you've seen that Seinfeld episode, but you'll love it. You know,
Jason, you talked about those 3 songs are the sounds like the standard Earth, Wind, and Fire medley. Are there other?
What Gabby said, I think it was like a TV thing, and everybody caught
So
up.
at one point we tried to do. There have to be other Earth, Wind, and Fire songs to do. Oh, we tried to do that.
Too.
Which is
I've
also
tried
one
that in
released
2
on the best-
bands
it was in the-
unsuccessfully.
What's that?
Yeah, that's I've played that Got to Get You Into My Life with 2 bands, and they fell apart. I mean, it didn't really work out.
it doesn't work as a dance.
It doesn't
song,
work as
'cause
a dance song.
Like if you played it at a concert, but we didn't play
Well,
it. You know,
it's not because it works. Well, it does work as a dance song. It's interesting what people will do on a dance floor.
Yeah.
I've watched them at all kinds of different tempos, and they, guests at a wedding, they'll make it work somehow. But it doesn't work. Each musician has to know their parts really
Oh,
well,
yeah.
which
That
gets
is a
me
tough
back
one,
onto the
Especially
same.
on that one.
Gets me onto my soapbox about,
Not being prepared.
musicians playing songs like they're real book charts.
Yeah.
You know, and that in the party band world, that just doesn't work.
Right.
We also, I don't know if you remember, we tried Shining Star
Yes.
for which is a great song.
We medleyed that with
Shining
Shining
Your
Star
Thing,
and
which
It's
you
Your
made me
Thing.
sing. Which,
I still have those
Wait,
charts.
it's your thing. You put those 2 tunes
Yeah.
together?
it actually
I don't
worked, but
remember
then
that.
we did. I
must-
remember
I
doing
must
it
not
at
have
the
been in
23
the
East.
band.
Yes. But
I
I
remember
love
singing "It's Your Thing" and just sweating profusely.
I
That's what
loved
associate
doing Shining Star because
Oh,
me
that's a
and
great
Let's
song.
bring it back.
me and Dennis would go back and forth, but I didn't try to emulate the Philip Bailey parts, by going.
Yeah,
I would do my own thing on it, but it was. I liked
it's a great song.
Oh, so much fun!
What song?
Shining Star.
I don't know if you meant It's Your
We're
Thing.
talking
You
about
sang-
Oh What a Night. When
What band are we talking about?
There are some great Earth, Wind, and Fire songs that never really caught on with the general public, like
His name was
Yearnin'
Arthur Pendel.
Learnin'
I don't know.
and
Arthur
Serpentine
Pendel.
I thought you were going to say
Fire.
Serpentine Fire. That's a great song.
And Yearnin' Learnin' would be an excellent dance song, but no one knows it. I mean, but those guys were practically virtuoso musicians with what they wrote. It was just brilliant.
It is a dumb, but so there's so many great songs. But if you ever listen to the beginning of Fantasy on headphones, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's incredible.
And then a song I don't think any band could really accomplish correctly is like Reasons.
love that song,
Well, that's a vocal. That's really.
and when I've seen him, the videos of him doing that live, and he starts getting even up higher.
wow.
It's
That
ridiculous.
is a gorgeous. I mean, just from a instrumental.
Was that
standpoint,
what's
that's
his
a gorgeous
name?
Tune.
Was that
David
Foster?
Foster.
I think that's After the Love Is Gone. It's
No,
David
I don't
Foster.
Well, I
think
know
David
he did that
Foster
one.
wrote that one. I think David Foster just wrote After the
After the
Love
Love
Is
Is
Gone.
Gone? Okay,
That was his.
That's
That's
my-
where he made his first.
I
million.
love that song. After the Love Is Gone.
That gets us to the end of September. So what we do when we get to the end of talking about our songs from the set list is we pick next month's song from the set list. And next month is our 1 year live anniversary. And I picked the first one, which was Silly Love Songs. And
That gets my vote.
I think I want to pick the 1 year anniversary song. So
Yes.
definitely,
So
yeah.
what
Go
I'm going to
for it.
pick is the Golden Slumbers medley to
Can we
talk
do that
about.
already?
No.
All right.
Because we might have the judge here, who is the Beatles
Ah.
expert. The Golden
Okay.
Slumbers medley. We can talk about that. And the last thing we do each podcast is to pick a song that we have heard, that we like, that we think would be fun to do, that we wouldn't ever necessarily do, but a song that comes to mind that you'd like to do.
I'm picking the same one I picked last month, okay? Because I picked the song, the Martha and the Vandellas version of Dancing in the Street. Nobody even, we're not doing it. But all of a sudden we're doing Band on the Run, which wasn't even mentioned. We played at Rose Tree cold. Just play the fucking thing.
It was good.
My song? No. A classic of all time. But
Did
But
you
he's not
watch the
angry.
video I sent of Bowie and Jagger?
yes.
Okay, you loved it.
Yeah, no, I hated it. So I'm picking that again, folks. I'm picking Martha and the Vandellas version of Dancing in the Street.
Oh my God.
And then just to back up for next month, I'm picking the Crystals version of the Do Run Run Run.
Are you picking that for the 1 year anniversary, or you're going back to June? Is that what
No, I'm going to the 1 year anniversary.
Okay. Run.
He's prepared. It's called No Scrubs by TLC. I think if we did a cover of it, I think it'd be great.
Ed knows his stuff with that
Yeah,
shit.
and Weezer covered it, so you can hear guys doing it. It's pretty.
No scrubs.
Yeah, Scrubs is the kind of can't get no love from me.
Yeah, right. Sitting in his best friend's ride in the
I think it would go over
passenger
great
side.
with like 20 through 35, like the younger
My age group.
crowd.
First time you rap on that, you put your glasses on and go like this.
The T-Boz part.
I'm picking Carry On, Wayward Son.
Oh, Wayward Son, great song.
I actually like that song, Gab. I can't believe it. Something that Gabby picked.
Wait, am I allowed to pick
he
one?
likes the
Yes,
song.
Jason Long, go ahead.
Crystal Blue Persuasion,
Right!
Tommy
By
James.
Tommy James and the Shondells. Wow.
Great song.
I'm going to throw in, since it's the Top Gun special podcast, I'm going to throw it, and it actually has nothing to do with planes.
Take
But
my breath
Take my- yeah, I was
away.
oh no, I hate that song with a so much. Berlin, right?
Berlin,
because
yeah.
it wasn't off the radio for like months and months. But no, I was going to pick to go with Geb's Band on the Run. I was going to pick Jet. By
No,
Paul McCartney.
no, that's not a
You
good
know-
one. No.
You know,
The
Parky,
lyrics
it's-
are horrible. But
It's funny you say that because I've been working on the chart for Wilson Farm Park.
why would you
we
right
playing, Are
in?
we playing Jet?
So
Band
on the album, it's Band on the Run,
I'll
right
play
into
it. I
Jet.
would love to play that
Yeah, but
song.
Jets blows. Band on the Run is good.
Blows.
The lyrics of the McCartney was capable of writing really dumb lyrics.
Yeah, he
the lyrics
was.
on that are terrible.
That's why I like John Lennon better.
Yeah, so that brings us to the end
Ba, 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 ba.
of episode 12. The fantastic. Wait, what it was?
Top Gun guys.
No, what was the Dirty Dozen? That's what I meant to go.
Dirty
Of the Dirty Dozen of the Chico's Vibecast. So we'll be back.
I don't know
Dirty
how you're
Dozen
going to
is-
edit this one.
We'll be back next month for the 1 year anniversary.
Jim Brown.
Stay tuned.
Come on, Jeff.
Yeah.
Come on, Jeff.
Jason, what's your favorite Herb Alpert tune? We have it. We're trying to keep the streak alive. I need help. What is that?
What's that
Oh,
called?
that's
It's
Oh, not that song.
It's one.
Yeah,
word.
that's
It's something with an A. Does it have an A in it?
That's his 80s song, right?
Yeah, no.
No, 70s.
No. Yeah. Oh God, what's the name of that
Oh,
song?
what the hell's that called? It was on General Hospital. I remember that.
Oh, that song.
Yeah,
It's like-
called. I forget
It's
what
kind
that's
of
called.
like wave, something
What's
like
that?
that.
That's it, Gab.
If you are listening, call in to
Wait,
the.
we think Gabby got it.
No, it's not wave. Wave is another term, but
Hey.
it's something like that.
Matt, can you help us out on this one?
Can you Shazam it?
Wait, stop.
Here,
Let
I'll
me find it.
I'll find it.
My
Look up-
OCD is going to go through the roof if I don't find
Okay,
this here.
fair enough.
I'm looking first.
Okay, so her
Rise.
Rise.
See, I was right. It had an A in it.
That's right.
Concert A. He plays Concert A in that song.
A
All
Greek
right,
A.
Somewhere.